Welcome to Veterinary Referral Center of Central Oregon's Facebook Live event for the discussion of how to cut your dog's nails. I'm Jen Bentley, I'm the dermatologist here at VRCCO, and before we get started I want to introduce some special guests today. This is Anna to my left. She's a certified veterinary technician. Anna, how many years of school did you take to get there?
Oh, it was a 2-year program. It took me about 5 while working through Penn Foster, yeah.
And I know you had to take a huge test afterwards as well.
I did. I just in December took the VTNE and became certified. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then this is Ponch. Ponch has actually been helping out the veterinary field for his whole life. He is a star in several surgical textbooks. He's actually donated his feces for fecal transplants, and he's a blood donor, so he saves some lives as well, and he'll be helping us out today to demonstrate how to cut your dog's nails. So before we begin with everything, please, if you have anybody out there that you want to share this event with, who you think you can help, basically, and they struggle with the nail cutting, please click the share button and share with them. And we'll be taking any questions throughout the whole time, so please feel free to share your questions or any other thoughts during this event. So what I'm going to talk about is first why we even cut the dog's nails. And there's actually a very good reason to cut the dog's nails. So basically, if the nails get too long, I know, Punch, don't like your feet touched like a lot of dogs. But when the nails get too long like these, and these are super long, they're going to be walking, and this is going to be touching that surface. And what that does is it backs that nail up into the nail bed, and that creates a lot of pain here. So when they're walking, they're normally flat-footed, but eventually, if they're getting too much pain here, they'll roll that paw back, and that's going to create a lot of strains and problems, basically with their ligaments and tendons. The other thing that happens when the nails get too long is they can actually curl over and actually go into the paw pad. And we see that a lot of times with the dew claws, because those are the nails that aren't touching the surface, and those can cause a lot of problems and cause infections too. Ponch actually doesn't have dew claws, but if he did, you would see the dew claw right there on the inside. A lot of hunting breeds, they'll take off the dew claws because sometimes they get caught in the shrubbery and can cause problems. I think Ponch is taking a nap. One question that we get is some dogs will have longer nails than other dogs, and that's a multifactorial thing. So one, the length of the nails is actually dependent on how much activity that your dog is getting. So if your dog is older like Ponch and may have some orthopedic problems, those nails aren't going to wear down normally by having activity on harder surfaces. That's how they get worn down. So if your dog is really, really active, you may not have to cut the nails as much, but if we're a little bit older, you may have to cut them longer. I think that there's a little bit of genetics here at play too. Some dogs are kind of bred to be running around like herding dogs, and possibly their nails are longer because of that type of genetics. And remember, nails are important for dogs too, with some activities like digging, even though we don't encourage that at this point, and also running uphill and using those nails to kind of climb. So they did serve at least a purpose back in the day for the more active guys. So in order to cut the nails and be comfortable with cutting the nails, we need to know a little bit about anatomy. So I'm going to draw up here on the whiteboard kind of the most important thing about the nail anatomy, and that is something called the quick. And the quick is, you probably have heard of it, but all it is basically a part of the nail that is actually living tissue. And it supplies nerves and blood vessels to the nails. And of course you don't want to hit it because it's going to bleed, and it's also going to be very painful. But it runs like this in the nail. So not all the way, but some of the way. And usually when we cut at a 45-degree angle, and that also helps us to avoid the quick. Now if you're wondering how far to cut the nail, that's dependent on the quick. Usually you want to go about a couple of away from the quick to be sure that you don't cut the quick. When to cut the nails too, obviously Paunch has really long nails, but if you ever hear the nails clinking on the kitchen floor, that is time to cut the nails. Some people will say if the nails are overgrowing the paw pad right there, that's time to cut the nails too, but a lot of dogs have longer quicks, and so it can be impossible to cut them that short at that point. Okay, Paunch, are you ready for your nail trim? He looks a little nervous. Let's give him a treat. So we always want to make this a fun experience for them, a rewarding experience. I will say that you don't want to be scared of cutting the quick. You want to be in a calm environment, a calm state of mind yourself. That way the dog will be calm too. You're gonna cut the quick at some point. It's going to happen. It's nothing to be afraid of. We just try to avoid it. We might even cut the quick today. It just happens. I'm not. I have all the confidence in Anna, but it happens. All right, Anna, you want to take over?
Sure. All right. So with Paunch, luckily Paunch has clear nails, which is much easier for you because you can actually see his quick. So you can see the pink in his nail, and it comes out to about here. And you can see where it hooks over, and it's just clear. This is not living tissue right here, and he's got a nice hook that's going to be safe to cut. And things for dogs that are really nervous about it, letting him keep his leg in a natural position and not yanking on it too hard. Yeah, you can lay down. It's nice if you have someone helping you who can be distracting with treats and treats. And Paunch is such a mellow guy, but some dogs really have a phobia of it, and sometimes you just have to go slow and work on a nail each day, and eat the treats always help, huh, Paunch? Yeah. Oh, we have a question.
Yeah, so this is from Ernie, and he says, sometimes the nail seems brittle. Is it poor nail cutters, or is it better to grind?
Yeah, so grinding can be a little bit difficult when the nails are long, so I really only recommend to grind when you're kind of fine-tuning. I think that the brittle nails probably occur just from the activity, the normal wear and tear that they're experiencing. There's also several conditions that also can cause brittle nails as well, and those include things like a condition called SLO, but usually when we see those types of abnormalities in the nail, it's just normal wear and tear.
All right, Paunch, you ready for the first one? All right, so just holding his paw, not yanking on his leg too hard, and we're gonna come right in that nice little hook there, and we'll just cut that off. That's pretty good. He has a nice easy one, again, because he's got clear nails. With black nails, what I usually will do is just take tiny little layers, and they're a lot slower, and just go back until sometimes in the cross section you can see kind of a little white spot with black nails, and that kind of helps you know that you're getting close to the quick and it's time to stop. You can probably just take a little smidge more for him. Good boy. Yeah.
Oh, that one's long.
I know, that's a long one. And this nail's a little darker, so it's a little harder to see, but you can kind of see underneath too where that comes out. And we'll just go slow. We can kind of do it a little layer at a time. It's okay, bud. It's okay, I know. You're a good boy. I know, I didn't get ya. And if it does happen, and like Dr. Bentley was saying, like I've done it hundreds of times, and every once in a while you do get one and you feel terrible, but it happens. So there's a couple things that I always like to have on hand. Quick Stop, which is just kind of a powder you can dab on there. And then there's the silver nitrate sticks, which these are kind of nice. You just literally say I had Quickdom, you just would touch it to where it was bleeding, and just it'll stop it usually very quickly. Question?
This is from Denali. Any tips for getting a puppy to relax while cutting their nails?
Puppies are hard. Yeah, and puppies might take two people a lot of times. The best thing you can do with puppies, and it's good that you're already thinking about that, is to get them used to getting their paws touched. It'll make it easier for the groomers, for the vets to handle when they need to handle the paws. and go slowly. So, the first time you may just be doing this and bringing that instrument right up here inside the nail and not even cutting. That could be a first step in a gradual progression to cutting 1, then 2. And just do it really slowly, over the course of about 6 weeks to get them used to cutting the nails.
All right, you.
Couple more.
Couple more.
Punch, you're a good boy.
He's a really good boy. I've had people say, as long as they don't have any allergies, but peanut butter is a nice thing because it takes the focus off of their feet and they're sitting there looking at that. So sometimes that helps too. You're okay, bud. Yes, I know. And he has really long quick, so again, it's not the length of the nail, it's the length of the quick that'll kind of determine how far you can go each time. But if you keep on top of it, and eventually the quicks will kind of work their way back, where you can eventually get to kind of a normal nail length.
Another question out there, Shelby?
Yeah, so this is from Taylor, and Taylor wants to know, how often would you recommend cutting? Can going too long with cutting cause problems?
Yes, so I kind of, the gold standard out there is 2 weeks, but again, that's going to depend on activity level. So Paunch will probably be a 2-week type of dog. I know we let it go too long, didn't we? Whereas some of your dogs that are out hiking and running around, they may need a month. So it really just depends on how fast their nails grow and how much activity they're doing to wear them down. All right. Well, thank you, Paunch, for being such a good model. Thank you, Anna, for helping us out with all of this. And if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and let us know if you have any other topics you want to discuss, any other questions about nail cutting. We'll be sure to answer your comments in the next few weeks. And please join us in 2 weeks for another Facebook Live event at this time, 4 o'clock on Wednesday.